To WNBA Game Time, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods.
I've been paying attention very little, but one of the things that I did watch is all the fouls. Like, these bitches throw each other to the ground. They poke each other in the eyes. Like, they do this. They literally jab each other in the eyes. It's crazy. Like, they foul, and also they travel so much.
Oh, it's crazy.
They take like 4 or 5 steps, and then no one calls them on it.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a trend now to not call traveling?
Yes.
Imagine a professional sports league where players are routinely thrown to the ground, jabbed directly in the eyes, and permitted to take 5 full steps without a single whistle, while the front office sits in absolute, dead silence. It sounds like a scripted storyline straight out of a professional wrestling promotion, but it is the raw, chaotic reality of the modern WNBA. A league currently tearing itself apart at the exact moment the entire world is finally paying attention. Welcome back to the channel, where today we are pulling back the curtain on the corporate complacency, locker room warfare, and the systemic sabotage threatening to destroy women's basketball from the inside out. The boiling point has officially been reached, and the mainstream pop culture universe is no longer looking away. When the biggest podcast host in the world, Joe Rogan, sits down with top-tier comedians like Tony Hinchcliffe just to openly mock the state of officiating and player behavior in women's basketball, you know the narrative has completely escaped the league's control. Rogan and Hinchcliffe didn't hold back, laughing at how a professional sport has seemingly devolved into chaotic, unregulated physical altercations where basic basketball rules are tossed entirely out the window.
I thought your young, wonderful basketball player, Caitlin, I thought that she was treated rather rough, if you want to know the truth. That was a much different kind of an event. That was a pretty bad event.
Thanks.
But in this case, he didn't do anything
and
wrong.
Do you know how bad the WNBA has to be doing when our president has to stop his busy schedule to talk about the WNBA? What? Good thing it was Caitlin, because if it wasn't for Caitlin, he would have had no reason to speak about the WNBA. That's just facts. Well, if I'm being honest, nobody would have had a reason to speak about the WNBA if it wasn't for Caitlin. So, but yeah, everybody with, 2 eyes, some of us with 4, we can see what's really going on. It's a lot of nastiness and hatred going on, and it's directed at Caitlin from those other people that's in the league that's very envious, spiteful, jealous, deranged, and a lot of other names I can say. We tired of those type of people. They're adults. It's time for them to start being mature and start acting like adults and stop acting like this is some kind of relationship. You are not in a relationship with Caitlin. Caitlin is not your baby daddy. Caitlin is not none of that. So I don't know why y'all trying. It's weird. But at the end of the day, we is the face of the league. And if you can't see that, I don't know what to tell you. MVP championship on the way.
They pointed directly at players like Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark, highlighting a surreal environment where athletes are literally throwing punches and poking opponents in the eyes, leaving audiences to wonder if they are watching an elite sports league or an afternoon inside a UFC octagon. But beneath the viral clips and the mainstream mockery lies a much darker, highly targeted psychological reality. For months, fans have watched in disbelief as the league's brightest young star, Caitlin Clark, has been subjected to a relentless campaign of physical hostility, a gauntlet of non-basketball plays designed to test her breaking point. We are not talking about hard, competitive fouls born from intense defense. We are talking about blatant, dangerous shoves midair, hostile takedowns, and facial strikes that would trigger instant ejections and multi-game suspensions in any other professional league on earth. Yet, as the violence on the hardwood escalates, a silent question hangs over the entire sport, an explosive revelation we will uncover later that proves the league's inner circle might actually be engineering her downfall. To understand how we got here, you have to understand the mind of the prodigy at the center of the storm. Clark has been operating under this intense microscopic pressure since she was a child, revealing that colleges were already tracking her movements as early as the 6th grade while she was playing 2 grade levels up. It is a dizzying, unnatural reality for a child to navigate, but it forged a psychological armor that her current rivals simply cannot pierce. When asked about her mindset on nights when her legs are heavy and her shot refuses to fall, her response is dangerously simple. She always believes the next shot is going in. That absolute, unshakable defiance is precisely what drives the veteran establishment to madness, because you cannot break an athlete who refuses to stop shooting. Yet, the institutional rot starts at the very top. WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert and NBA Commissioner Adam Silver seem entirely content to sit on their hands while their most valuable financial asset is treated like a human punching bag week after week. This administrative complacency has created a lawless environment where disgruntled veterans feel entirely emboldened to cross the line, knowing there will be 0 administrative consequences, 0 fines, and 0 accountability. But the physical targeting is only half the battle. The real damage is happening behind closed doors, fueled by a deep-seated animosity, jealousy, and pure pettiness that continues to ooze from within the league's executive ranks. The disdain for Clark's unprecedented fame was put on full display during a recent player vote, an official ballot where her own peers insultingly ranked her as merely the 11th best guard in the entire sport. Prominent sports analysts like Colin Cowherd could do nothing but laugh in the faces of the WNBA establishment, pointing out the sheer mathematical absurdity of the ranking. How does a player who was named the Eastern Conference Player of the Month, a player who single-handedly propelled her team to its highest scoring average in 16 years, suddenly rank 11th? She is the league's premier shooter, distributor, and play initiator, yet the fans rank her second, the media ranks her third, and her fellow players deliberately drop her outside the top 10. It is a level of transparent hating that is deeply embarrassing for an organization desperately begging to be taken seriously by global sponsors. But the scandal runs even deeper than a biased locker room vote.
If I was on the committee, I would have put her on the team. I was surprised. I think that we are having 2 different conversations. If you are talking about who should be on the roster based off of who makes the best team and who is the best to represent the United States of America as the U.S. Women's Olympic basketball team, that is a separate conversation from what would be the best for growing the sport. I am with all of you. The attention that the sport is getting is because of Caitlin Clark. She is bringing eyeballs. She is bringing sponsors. She is putting people in the seats. She is causing all of this conversation. She is. So from a growing the sport perspective, from a marketing perspective, from a business perspective, I completely agree. You can't argue the numbers. But from a basketball perspective, you can't. And what is conflicting for me, as a female athlete myself, when do we talk about the sport and not just the novelty and the drama and the eyeballs and the ratings and the division and the politics and the race? And all of those things are great for these shows, and all these things are great for social media, and all these things are great for the national debate around Caitlin Clark, which is fueling a lot of what's happening here. So I'm with it. Like, I've been doing this a long time. This is an entertainment business. I am aware of that. And that's why we get into it about who's going to be the face all the time. I'm like, yeah, this is a great player, but do they have polarity? Do they have spice? Do they have tension? Do they bring something to the table that makes you feel? And she does that. So from a business perspective, yeah, I agree. It was not the right decision.